All I really need is Wi-Fi. Get money on DeFi. Mega cash on MetaMask. You better run when the runners run. Show you how to get your money up. Dollar inflated like bubble gum. Markets are jumping like double dutch. Buying up gold till I get a ton. Crypto, yeah, I got some. You better run when the runners run. You better run when the runners run.
All right, welcome into the Runners Live, everyone. This is Michael Tharp, EDU. It starts with you. It's Tuesday, April 11th, 2023. We have the one, the only Travis A. Flaherty on tonight. We're going to bring him on in just a minute. As always, let me bring my good brother here, Ricardo Hamilton, a.k.a. Mims. Make it make sense. How's everything going in your world? And, man, I'm just pumped that Travis is here.
And lace up, let's get wealthy. Y'all know what time it is. Running with the runners. Look, told y'all we're gonna have a phenomenal show. Anytime the trio gets together, okay. Mike, Mims, Travis, you know we got some value for you. You know there's some gems gonna be dropped. We definitely gonna make it make sense. A lot of exciting news and updates to go over. And just excited for where we are and where we're going. So it's gonna be a phenomenal show, but everything is good, brother. Everything is good. How about your win?
Man, I can't complain. Just, getting back to reality, putting out a lot of videos today, and it's just time to run. We only got, we talked about this in New Orleans. We only got 3 more weeks until our next vacation. So we got to make them count.
Yeah.
I got my head down. I'm laced up. I'm ready to run.
Let's do it.
We're just going to keep winning.
That's right. That's right.
So again, guys, if you don't know Travis Flaherty, I don't know where you've been. One of my favorite people I've met in network marketing, which again is why I love network marketing, is in order to change your life, in order to go up those steps, you have to meet and connect and spend time with people who are already there. And there's very few people I've met in this industry who have had the success, who have the demeanor, the personality that I want to emulate. And Travis Flaherty is definitely one of them. He's, blown up multiple businesses in his time in this industry. He focuses a lot on entrepreneurship. And what I love about Travis, and I say this a lot, but the 2 things I find the most redeemable about him is he actually cares about people. Doesn't matter who they are. It's not, he treats you good if you're a big networker and you have a lot of money. No, it doesn't matter. You could be the taxi driver, the door holder, some random person on the street. He's always going to look of how can I provide value? How can I make this person's day better? So without any further ado, we're going to bring on Mr. International himself. Travis A. Flaherty is in the house. What's going down?
What's up, guys? It is good to be back here with the runners. I missed the both of you. And you know what? The days are counting down until we're going to be on the beach here. So I'm super excited about hanging with you guys. Very excited about that.
It's going to be a blast. I can't wait to go to the Dominican, get some warm weather. That Hard Rock Cafe just looks amazing. The content, just chill and relax. It's going to be fun. Now, before I really want to hear what happened in Lima, Peru, Travis, but you've been dropping so much knowledge lately, even though you're traveling and doing what you need to do. And you made a couple posts just about work ethic. Being disciplined. Some people might say doing the process or putting in the work. Can you maybe talk about your personal philosophy or, dedication that you do to help you grow, your business grow, your team grow, whatever it is, as you're in this industry or you're trying to help others?
Well, I think that, in my early days when I first started out, I knew that there were people that were going to be better speakers than me. I knew that there were people that were going to be more connected. But the thing that I could control, I always say focus on the things that you can control, right? Mm-hmm. So you can control, the amount of people that you're talking to, right? Let's talk about your vitals. Let's call it your vitals, right? You think about your vitals. When you go to the doctor and you walk in, they check your vitals. They want to check your heart rate, all these different things. Well, the vitals in our business are things like, how many people did I put in process today? How many people did I follow up with today? How many presentations did I give, right? Those are your vitals. And if somebody called me today and said, listen, my business is growing or is not growing, in a matter of a couple of minutes, just by looking at those numbers, I can tell you why your business is or is not growing, right? And so what I like is that whatever is tracked can be measured, whatever is measured can be improved. And in the early days for me, I always felt that no matter taking talent and everything else out of the equation, the one thing that I could control was I would not be outworked, right? My work ethic was going to be second to none. And even if I wasn't working, meaning I wasn't presenting or I wasn't in front of a group of people, I'm at home and I'm always looking for ways to be able to improve myself, to be able to improve the knowledge that I could gain around whatever it is that I'm promoting at that time. Because if I can gain knowledge, then I can educate. And I'm a big believer that if you watch the way I promote, I don't promote, old school marketing was climbing to the top of a mountain and shouting out your message as loud as you can, hoping that somebody would stumble across the message at just the right time and want to buy, right? That's, to me, old school. Today, it's more about providing value. It's about connecting. It's about authenticity. And so the more I can learn and the more I can educate others, the more value I can provide. Value establishes trust, and trust drives revenue, right? So that's the way that I promote, and that's important to me.
I hope you guys took notes on that, because we're already starting off. We got to give Travis the John DeMarco there. So many nuggets, Mims.
Yeah.
Make it make sense. Break that down even more, because what he said there was, I'm blown away. Like, I'm doing all this stuff here. I wish I could be writing this down.
Nah, for real. I need to pull out the pen and pad, because the way his brain works, he works in threes, So it's like he's going to give you the 2 steps, and the final one is going to equal the solution. It's like, Einstein, so it's fire. And no, I mean, it just like Travis said, it just come down, to that work ethic, and it just comes down to having a system. And then obviously, the duplication of that, is going to produce results. But I mean, no, Travis, he put it clear, man. I mean, I don't know how do you enhance that? It was pretty straightforward. And that's why you have success. That's why you have success. And you just have to, I put it like to say, maybe reinvent yourself, what I'm saying? Like, reimagine yourself every day, just figure out, well, how can I do something different? You know what I mean? And how can I improve myself? How can I change it up? And then when you find something that's working, continue to do it. And then, like, we talked about last night, people are watching. Just, constantly, continuously, consistently, just do something. Just keep doing something, and eventually you're going to see some results. It might not happen in the first 3 months, might not happen in the 6 months, might happen in a year. But when it happens, it was your time. It's meant to happen. It was just your test and what you had to go through for you to have success. So don't give up. Keep going. Keep pushing. Keep reinventing yourself and coming up with new ways to share and expose and get excited. Have passion.
And I'm reminded of what Kawan Mayo talked about how you have to be hungry. Once you're making 6 figures, $250,000 a month, like Travis is, you have to be hungry. You have to keep going. You have to keep pushing, challenging yourself. And you can't just be motivated by money. You have to be motivated in the process of becoming better and helping others. And that's, again, why, we appreciate, your friendship, your mentorship, Travis, and everything that you've done to help teach us, even though you're not doing it like individually one-on-one. Again, when I find somebody that's successful, I watch them. I learn from them. I don't need Travis to call me and talk to me for an hour. I'm watching what he's doing, not what he's saying. So Travis, you just got back from, I believe, Lima, Peru. So maybe, give us some experiences you had, what you learned, what was the vibe. You'll probably, do some videos on this later, but, how huge is IX growing internationally? And would love to hear, what happened down there.
Yeah, you bet. Absolutely. And I want to you said something before I go into Lima that was very, very important. Sure. You were talking about watching. People do what they see, not what they're told. Right? I could tell you 1,000 times how to go build this business, but the way that I lead is by example, right? At the end of the day, if I want my organization, Summer and I joke all the time. We talk about leaders that sometimes squeeze lemons. You know what squeezing lemons is they're constantly calling around in their team going, what do you have going on in your group today, Ricardo? How many people did you recruit? I don't, that's not my style. My style is I'm just going to go set myself on fire, and if I lead by example and I set the pace, right, I'm going to be the pace car for the organization.
Right.
And the right people are going to do their best to try and keep up. And I hope people pass me. I mean, I genuinely do, but that's my style of leadership. And so I just had to touch on that. You and I were talking about something before we opened this up too. And I have to say this because it's so important. I do want to touch on content creation before we go into Lima.
Yeah.
Because content creation, I want you to understand that content is not just king, it is the kingdom, right?
Yes.
If you are in this business, content is not just the king, it's the kingdom. If you are not working on content creation, if I showed you my phone, I literally sat outside this morning and I'm super frustrated because I never got the video that I wanted. And I will do it again tomorrow until I get it. But if you can see all of these little videos, that's me messing up about 20 times on a dang video that I was trying to create. But you know what? Every single day, every single way, you need to be putting out content and finding ways to add value, because your income will always be in correlation to the amount of value that you bring to your community. And then of course to your team and everything else. And so I had to go there because we were talking about that a little bit earlier. And I wanted to put that in.
No, and I don't remember if it was you or somebody else, but they said, show me your calendar and I'll show you why either you're successful or not. You know?
True.
And again, people think, oh, Travis Flaherty's been doing this for 20 plus years. He's got this huge network. You know, he's got this beautiful family. You know, he's making lots of money. It's so easy for him, you know. But here you see, guys, and I go through the same thing, and this is what I'm trying to push myself and get better at, is getting more content out. But it's not easy. Because, again, once you get to a certain level, you expect certain things. You become a perfectionist. You keep trying things over and over and over again. But, again, guys, I mean, here Travis Flaherty, right, the IX Global Ambassador, is doing 20 retakes of his video, and he still didn't get it out.
I did this dang video right, man. I was so close, and it was just like, no, man, I'm not posting this. I'm doing it again. And then the light changed, and then the sun got bright. I'm like, I'm done doing this tomorrow morning.
And I want to add on that because that's critical, because you got to capture that moment. You know, if you try to do it the next day or do it later, sometimes it doesn't have that same effect. You know, when you have that inspiration, you know, when you get that feeling like I got to go live about this or I got to post it, you got to capture it right there because it's fresh on your mind. The neurons are firing, the energy, the environment is right. You know, it hit you right at that moment. And but no, it definitely sucks when you can't, you know, put it together the way you want. But that's the type of, you know, momentum. Your mindset should always be in this growth mindset, you know, that we kind of talked about before. This mindset where you're constantly trying to grow and improve and evaluate what you got going on, so you can, you know, manifest and enhance and anticipate greater results.
That's where your inspiration comes from.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Where you know. Absolutely. All right.
So I'm so glad you got into that, Travis, because I wanted you to hit on that. But Lima, Peru, how amazing was it?
You know, Peru is, I mean, it's a different environment completely. They're hungry. Like, you know, you go into these different markets and I, you know, I hate to say it, but sometimes in America, we're entitled. We get a little bit lazy here. You know, we stupid. We take for granted the things that we have and the resources that we have. And then you go down to a market like this. And, you know, I asked, you know, how many people drove at least 8 hours and, you know, half the room? How many people drove 18 hours, you know, and half, you know, quarter of the room on a bus, you know, just to be there for a leadership meeting that was going to be 3 hours before the main event. You know, they're hungry and they're hungry to learn. And they, you know, they just, I don't think that they truly understood the value of what we had in our hands. And so I think that for me, being able to go down there, and there was different moments that were really special for me. I watched a leader, Dalu, and her team. She rented a boat and she took her leaders out on a boat to reward them. And I watched, what I learned from her was how much she loved and cares for her team. And it was really neat. And she invited myself and Paul and Luke to be able to go with her. And so we went out and we had this special moment where all of a sudden they started asking questions. And for the next hour and a half, you know, everybody was kind of gathered around and I started kind of explaining, you know, the value of what it is. Because the rentals for them were the biggest thing that they marketed. They didn't understand how to market them the right way, right? They were selling ROI, not value. And so when all of a sudden the tokens didn't double in value in 60 days because that's what they were selling, all of a sudden there was this disappointment. And so they're like, well, I don't understand. So when there was like these aha moments, Mike, like you could see their eyes start to opening up and they started to understand the true value. And that moments like that thing. So little where there was 30 or 40 leaders that were there, and we did the same thing. We talked about value. We talked about how to go out and truly introduce this the right way, and to see people come alive and to truly understand this was fire. And then the event. I mean, there's like 700 people there. Like these guys.
Wow.
Every time I go to Latin America, they know how to put on an event like you would not believe. Like I walk in the door, they got IX little logos that are spinning all over the wall and purple lights everywhere, and TJs are going crazy and they're dancing. And outside there's vendors and they have sponsors. They had sponsors that literally donated $10,000 in cash so that they could put $1,000 into each trading account, and they were giving away $1,000 trading accounts right before your eyes. And I mean, I'm telling you, these guys know how to put on an event. And this was a corporate event. They put this event on. We were their guests.
Wow.
So it was awesome.
That's
it was remarkable.
So the local leaders, the leaders in IX in Peru said, hey, we're going to put on an event. IX, team ambassadors, will you come?
Yes. And we helped support the event, but this was, they planned it. They had the agenda. They had exactly what they wanted. They took the leadership. And for me, to see 600 or 700 people there at that launch event, what it did is it put us on the map in Latin America. I think people realize, hey, these guys, they're the real deal. And I'll tell you, the thing that they love the X nodes and they love the micro nodes, which I know we're going to get into. But what they're fired up about is driven trading. Like the driven trading for them, they are, for some reason down there, trading is a big, big deal. And I shouldn't say for some reason, for a lot of different reasons, right? But they get it. And so the first half of the event was all about trading. They were literally doing live trading right before your eyes. And I mean, it was just a huge, huge deal. So they couldn't be more excited about the driven trading side of things.
Well, I think that comes down to being hungry, right? And there's some people that I'm mentoring right now that I'm talking to, and I'm like, listen, if you want to learn a skill where you will always be able to make money anywhere in the world at any time and be your own boss, it is trading. Now I have, I'm in a certain position. I have certain skills where I don't have to do that. But if I was in a position where I was like, my back's up against the wall, that's what I would double down on. And again, I think it comes back to, I think that's why India had so much success, is their people are hungry. They're ready to put in the work. I just got to look at this screen, read some charts. You guys will teach me all this, and I can make, a couple $100 a day. When, I'm sure Peru is, they're struggling, and, if you can even make $50-100 a day, you're probably doing well. And there really is nothing like trading the markets that you can do without, some people don't like to talk to people, share stuff, whatever it is. So I think that makes complete sense from what I've seen, anytime I've been in a country similar to that.
One of the things that surprised me was at the main event, they did a recognition towards the second half, and they brought everybody up on stage. And culture in Latin America, they the big checks, they love the big checks that you hold up, and it shows. And here in America, we can't really even do that so much anymore because it's almost income claim, right, in some ways. And so, but down there, they that's their culture. And so they're standing on stage, and I'm sitting there looking at these checks, and their top leader comes up and $165,000, and I'm like, $165,000, and I literally had to ask. I said, "Hey, is that in Solaris?" And they're like, "No, that's in U.S. dollars. Everything's in U.S. dollars. 165,000, 120,000, 110,000, 90,000, 80,000, 60, 60, 60." And there's like 50 people up there that made like 20,000 or more, and I'm sitting here going, "This is life-changing money, especially in Peru, like life-changing money." And it wasn't one leader. I mean, there was at least 60 people that were up there on that stage that had a check that of at least 20,000 or more since they've gotten involved and launched. And that's really since been June of last year as a result of this company. And so it's just another testament to the fact that, man, IX Global's changing lives. And this has nothing to do with the nodes and the amount of tokens that they have. Oh man, and they were so proud of their the app. Like, and I'll tell you my biggest lesson that I taught them when I was there in just a moment. But every picture I took, we were on a boat, and every one of them pulled up their app and would hold it up. And so it was me, the person, and them holding a picture of their phone with the app, because they were so proud of the token. I got to the point where I was just pulling up my glasses and is looking at this app, and they just love showing that app. And there's a lesson.
Yeah.
There's a lesson in that, because they just go out there and show people, look, these tokens are coming in, and that was they absolutely loved it.
I mean, keep it simple. That's what it comes down to, and we struggle that in America and more developed first world countries, is we think we got to explain all this and do all that, and it's like, no, a node is very simple. Mims, anything you heard from what Ricardo said you want to add to?
Trav. I mean, so look, emerging markets, folks. Okay, the global economy is changing. So the real hunger, the real wealth transfer, these emerging markets, and where people are now getting access to opportunities, and resources, and things that they haven't had before. They're not playing around with it. So the growth rate that it took, for us to see, how we've evolved. I'm telling you, these other countries outside the United States, these emerging markets, they're going to do it in 2x, 3x a time. Okay, the way that they communicate, the way that they network, the way that their family, the way that they spread a message, they work together. You know what I mean? Like, so I can already see. And then when you have companies like the Debt Box and what we're doing, I mean, this is, a nuke has just been set off in Peru, in South America. And I mean, obviously, we're talking about life-changing income. And that was before the nodes. That was before, everything else that's coming. And now they've added Driven. And you see they pumped and sold out the whole room and everything else. I mean, so what do you think, once again, I like to project. Well, what do you think this is going to be in 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, 36 months? The lives that have changed, and then the type of income that people have, and now these type of people coming together. If they're coming together to do events like that, you think they're not going to come together to change their community, to change their politics, to change their environment around them, right? And so this is the power of what we have when we talk about, if you didn't come from a wealthy family, this is the opportunity to make sure a wealthy family comes from you. This is what they thinking about.
Yeah.
They're thinking about changing their lives forever for their children, their children's children. So they're not playing around with this thing. So while some people here, we posting and we like, man, they ain't listening. People don't understand that the economy here is declining. Countries around the world are aligning away from the dollar. And so people here are going to start to realize, that it's not as sweet as it used to be. So it's important that people take this kind of message and this information very seriously, because the next decade, as we close out this decade, 2025 and 2030 and moving on, which is coming, okay, it's coming. You want to make sure that you're in the right place ahead of time with the right companies, building the right relationships with the right assets, okay? And that's one of the things that we're doing here with IX Global in the Debt Box, with the leadership, with the products, track record, and everything. And that's why you're seeing the success in hearing how we just blew up Lima, and more success to come. So man, that's awesome to hear.
Travis, that's why I love Ricardo. That's why I run with this guy wherever we go.
On a roll. You said something about politically. You brought up just the fact that. So they talked to me a little bit about, like, there's all these people that drive around on these motorcycles that are there, and they're all, coming in as they're coming in from different countries, and their population has just gone through the roof as a result of the immigrants that are coming in from these different countries, where I guess there's a massive wave of socialism that's starting to spread throughout Latin America, and countries that 5 years ago had, strong economies and strong currencies have completely collapsed, right? We're talking about places like Venezuela and these type of places. Yeah. And so a lot of them have migrated to Peru, but they're very aware of the shift of and I'm not getting into politics, and that's not what we're talking about, but they're very aware of how quickly a currency can go from, right. I believe that this particular country they were talking about, the highest denomination was $1 million, whatever, whatever you call it, soles or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And today it's worth a quarter, right? And that was their
Mm.
highest denomination. And so they're very aware of the devaluation of currency around the world. And so for them, cryptocurrency, they're ahead of the game when it comes to that. From my perspective, they're already aware that digital currency is essential from a place of stored value because of all of these different currencies. They don't want to play that game anymore. You don't have to worry about going from one currency to another when you're sending money to different countries. And so for them, they definitely are ahead of the curve, and they definitely understand kind of what we're starting to see and what we're starting to witness right now with the amount of people that are abandoning the dollar and the risk that the dollar is in right now when it comes to being the leading global currency around the world. They're already aware of that game. And that is, so they embrace cryptocurrency at a totally different level.
Wow. Yeah, that's huge.
And I think, again, I say this all the time. I don't think there's going to be some dollar crash.
I agree.
I don't think we're going to live through some traumatic experience. It's frog in a boiling water, right? Like you go to Mexico, you buy a Coke, it's like 500 pesos or something, right? You don't even think about it. It's going to be the same way. You're just going to walk into the store and you're like, oh, I need a Coke. Here's $20, and you walk out. It's just going to happen slowly. And if you're not paying attention, you're just going to keep struggling. You'll have to get a second and a third job, So this is why what we have here is so important, because it's teaching people to get out of the system, be able to control your own wealth, send wealth to whoever you want, and just basically diversify into different assets and commodities that people are going to need. And as that inflation goes up, again, that's why I love what we're doing here. We're so diversified, whether it's natural gas, oil, aluminum, gold, beverages, beer, water. I'm probably missing 3 right now. I mean, we can barely keep track.
Yeah.
Or real estate, right? So I just love what we have here. Mims, anything you want to add before we move on?
Nah, I mean, that was fire. I think that Travis hit on the nail, and they obviously have seen and experienced firsthand or through relative how quickly something of value can become valueless. And that's why we're excited, because we understand that we have something of value that is going to become even worth more value, and it's going to change lives. So it's exciting to be in the right place ahead of time. But no, awesome. That's a great information and perspective to help people really grasp the magnitude of what's going on.
All right, so let's transfer here, Travis and Ricardo. So Ricardo and I got to go to Bev Day. All right, so Travis, here was my biggest takeaway. Maybe you've seen the video. I don't know. I'm just going to keep talking about this. Roof rights. Okay. The rights to a roof to collect rainwater is huge. Okay. We'll maybe talk about this new node coming up. But when Jason Anderson, the CEO of the Debt Box, talked about how Richard's Rainwater had the exclusive rights to their roof, and they're adding the high school. I got some video I got to show you, Travis, of just this setup they have there in the South in Mississippi. Like, there's a brewery right across the street. There's a high school.
Yep.
Which I don't even know if you could do that in Michigan, because we have like these weird rules, right? The South doesn't care. They're like, we're going to do whatever we want, wherever we want, whatever we want. And then there's like an aviation field, or like kind of like a airport, or like a little like private hangar or something. And he's like, yeah, we got the exclusive rights to that and this one. So we are now getting paid from roofs. Like, they're that thinking far ahead. And then I saw on the thing today is the drip and aluminum and Bev are all supporting each other. Like, that just kind of blew my mind. Mims, your biggest takeaway to kind of fill Travis in on what we saw on Bev Day.
Yeah. So, Bev Day, any event really is always great, because for one thing, you get to be hanging around the leaders. You really get to grasp the magnitude of what's supporting and backing, this project to help you kind of reduce your, that fear or risk, and, and increase your excitement in education. But Bev Day was, was big for me, because I didn't realize that, the award-winning craft beers that we're partnering with, and then I tasted them myself, and they're phenomenal. They taste good, right? And then so, another thing that really gets me excited about, what we're doing in Bev Day is America first. It's an American
Hmm.
company here. You know what I mean? And like I keep talking about the global shift and things because, like I said, I like to think ahead of time. I like to project forward. And then, once again I talk about the trade disruptions and things that are going on globally. So just to be just to have a company here in the United States that's producing craft beer that is behind this phenomenal node, help support this node system that we're getting paid from this industry that's a recession proof industry with everything going on. It was just exciting to see the real facility, taste the craft beers.
Did we lose? Ricardo, I think we lost you. You froze.
He froze up for a moment.
Okay, so we'll get Mims back in a minute. You might need to go out and come back in, Ricardo. Yeah, lost thing. So, I think he's already back.
Yeah, that was
Are you
weird.
there?
Yeah, I don't know how much you caught, but yeah, Bev Day was phenomenal, man. I can't wait to go to the next one.
And the last thing I'll add, Travis, is because this video didn't work last night, but Jason Anderson talked about how they're going to have Otter Pops that are 8% alcohol. And this brand is already being sold, I think he said in Costco and a few other stores. So again, guys, we're not like creating our own energy drink here at the Dot Box. We're getting bottling distributors that can make different things. Like when we were there, they were running the pecan, whatever that pecan beer is, right?
Yes.
And then they'll switch it over and they'll be doing Richard's Rainwater. And then while we were there, literally every 15 minutes, a semi's coming in. Semi's coming in, filling up, shipping out.
Yeah.
Another one comes in, shipping out. Like just to see that happening, semis in, semis out. And you're thinking, and Mims, maybe you can hit on this because we talked about it last night, is Jason was very big on think about making a nickel. That's our royalty, a nickel on every bottle that comes out of here. And I think the peak was 8 to 12,000 a day. I can't remember. I don't want to misquote it, but it was $8 to $12,000 or 8 to 12,000 bottles a day they can produce in this huge, inventory.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was huge, folks. I mean, this is a real project, dealing with, real, award-winning beverages and companies, and we're getting paid a nickel. The power of the nickel on every bottle that's getting shipped out of there. And we're talking about pallets on pallets, daily, year round, and growing. Okay. And that's just one facility. That's just one. It's just one facility. So understand that the Debt Box has literally they're blazing a trail with a phenomenal business model that is getting ready to duplicate, not just here, but it's already all around the world. And more people are looking for innovation, and they're looking for companies that are doing something new and exciting. And we're just right in position and for the wealth transfer. We're right, perfectly placed. So it's exciting to know that and be a part of it.
Travis, any questions you want to ask us about Bev Day before we move on, or any insight you wanted to see if we could educate you on?
Well, I want to say these three things: infrastructure, transparency, 350. Okay. Those three things. Let's talk about each one of those for a moment. A question that people ask me all the time: how do I know that the money that's coming in from the sales of the licenses isn't just being used to pay out the tokens?
Yeah.
And it's a big question, right? It's a really important question because there's a word for that. It's called a pyramid scheme, right? The money that's coming in from the sale of licenses, you're essentially using to pay out. And a lot of times in companies that we've seen in the past, they are just using a spreadsheet to track how much they pay out. And it works until it doesn't, right? Until there's just not enough money coming in the front door to pay the amount of people that are there. And then they come out with some lame excuse that says, oh man, our whole ecosystem got hacked and we need 60 days to, try and figure this out. And then pretty soon the whole thing collapses, right?
Yep.
So, and then the CEO ends up on like one of the top 10 most wanted, there's stories like this. These are real stories, folks.
Facts.
So here's the difference. You can see the money that's coming in from the license sales. I want you to hear this. Zero money coming from license sales is used to pay out when it comes to the token distributions. How do I know that? Because you can see it in the infrastructure, whether it's farming equipment and facilities, processing facilities that are in Ghana, or if you go to the Bev Day and you see the different facilities that they've acquired and that they've purchased, the money is going to the infrastructure. The infrastructure is producing these assets that essentially are producing the revenue, and the revenue then goes into royalties back into the trust, and ultimately that's what supports the tokenomics. And so that's number one thing that you need to understand here is that the infrastructure is evident. Michael and Ricardo firsthand again had a chance to be able to see it, which leads me to my second point: transparency. You show me any network marketing company, any cryptocurrency company, any cryptocurrency project in the entire world that is literally taking all of their leaders, their top leaders, and saying, hey, come on over, and I want you to see this firsthand. Come to Ghana. Go fly to Takoradi and get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and drive in a bus for 3 hours, hitting every pothole and way to the point where we get stuck in mud. But hey, listen, we take you to the jungle so that you can see the gold concessions. Now let's go introduce you to the chief. There's nobody doing that out there anywhere. So from a validation standpoint, it just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And finally, 350. Well, that's how many licenses are left of Bev. So if you don't have one, let me just tell you something. You're going to regret not having one. So those are the three things: infrastructure,
yes, sir,
and 350.
Wow, well said. Awesome.
Mike dropped that.
Yeah.
He always does that 3 things. So I'm picking up from this right now. Learn from this, guys. You gotta. So when you're getting ready to talk, have 3 points, state it, lay down the track, hit him with the Don DeMarco, and you're good. So I'm writing notes right here mentally. This is why you hang around people making over 7 figures in a year.
Yeah, the brain's ability to make correlations, 2s, 3s, and 5s.
I love it. I love it.
All right, so this is where I think the money meets the road. All right, we're gonna talk about some changes we're going through, which I actually love, guys. You want to be with companies that are constantly changing. As Ricardo always says, the only thing constant is change
in the universe.
If your company's not changing, they're probably dying. So we have these amazing micro nodes ready to be released. Okay, so if maybe you've been with IX Global in the debt box, you knew we had rentals. Well, Travis, since you're our guest here, can you maybe talk about why they decided to go to do away with the rentals, and maybe some lessons that they learned from that, and why they're transitioning to the micro nodes, and how I think we're all very excited about it. We'll kind of let you lead us off here.
Yeah, so the rentals were created as a stepping stone for somebody that can't afford a license, that allows them to be able to get their to get their feet wet, to be able to at least kind of get in the game, so to speak, to start accumulating tokens. The problem is that it invited the ROI conversation, right? I mean, people couldn't help themselves when it came to either from a promoter standpoint. Promoters that are inexperienced tend to sometimes over-exaggerate or set false expectations. It's just part of the network marketing industry that gives the industry a bad name. I always say the truth is good enough, right? So you find yourself leaning on the edge of setting a false expectation, and then when that expectation is not met, you have somebody that's disappointed. The number one reason that people leave network marketing, because of false expectations, right? So even though it wasn't intended to create that ROI conversation, people couldn't help but rent a license at the end of the 60 days, say, okay, I spent $250 and I only made $220. My ROI, I lost money. Well, did you lose money really? Because how do you know what that token is going to be worth in 3 months and 6 months and a year and 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, right? So how do you really know that you lost money? But neither here nor there, people struggled with that. And so we wanted to get as far away from the ROI conversation as we could. The other side is we wanted to give something that would produce ongoing for the life of the actual project itself. And so how do we do that? We get into fractional ownership. We give people a piece of ownership. You think about these markets like Peru and markets like Africa. They may not be in a position where they can go buy a license right now, even here in the United States. I mean, everybody's feeling the pinch.
Yeah.
But we've got to figure out how to get people from the saving mentality, because you can't save your way out of inflation. You can't outsave the devaluation of the dollar.
No.
And we've got to get them thinking like banks. We've got to teach them how to put their money to work for them. Well, if you can't go buy a node, what if you can buy a piece of a node and you can continue to collect those pieces until it continues to get to a point where now you own a full node, right? And so the fractional ownership, and the other thing is from an ROI standpoint, it gets away from that conversation completely. Why? Because who knows what the tokens are going to be worth in a year, in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years. There's no way to put an ROI on an aluminum license that's still going to be paying you tokens in 150 years. How do I know that? Because we have enough aluminum to mine for the next 200 years. How do you put an ROI on that? Right. So what it did is it protects the house, which is very, very important. We want to keep people ethical. The truth is good enough. Don't need to exaggerate. Tell it like it is. It got us away from the ROI, and now we're putting people into an ownership position that is going to pay them for the life of the project. And you just can't beat that. You can't beat that. So to me, absolutely brilliant.
He's on fire! And I love what you said there, right? Is it gets people thinking long term. It gets away from the ROI. And I think the biggest struggle they had with the rentals is people were just selling, right? They would just do their 250, get their tokens, sell it, right? It was a short-term thing because what they were giving them was short-term. It was a 30 or 60 days rentals. So people were thinking in 30 and 60-day timeframes. Right. Now they're saying lifetime. Think about your lifetime. Think about what people put money towards their 401k for 40, 50 years knowing I can't touch this money or I'll be penalized. Now we're able to automate this every single month. So Mims, make it make sense. How huge is this and what gets you excited about it?
Yeah, I mean, y'all hit it out the park, and it's pretty straightforward. I mean, you have the ability to leverage all this excitement that we're talking about, all this value that we're talking about, position yourself in commodities and in the blockchain, with these nodes, which is where the wealth transfer is, and to own something for life. I mean, that's where we talk about legacy. That's where we're talking about, doing something that has never been done before in your life and for your family. I mean, you're talking about having an asset, income producing asset, something that is producing value for you during times of uncertainty, but in the position of assets where these assets, like Bev and other assets are recession proof. But these are industries that, or commodities that the global economy is going to need regardless of what kind of environment we're in. And to be a part of that and now to make it so affordable, like I said, I think this is going to blow up, these second and third worlds that are emerging markets. They're going to love this. They understand the value long term. They understand what's going on. Like Travis said, they're ahead of us. A lot of people here in the crypto space because they see it as an alternative. And so now what you're saying, well, you can get this micro license and get paid in cryptocurrency. And we talk about this all the time, Mike, where here in the United States and in a lot of Western society, they have Operation Choke Point. They're trying to limit people's ability to convert the fiat into digital. And so now when you have a asset, a node, this software, a machine in the crypto space that is producing value for you every day, that is liquid, that you can swap out for any other cryptocurrency and change it on any other network or do it, that's huge. Okay, I want something inside the matrix that's producing inside the blockchain, inside the system that's producing value for me. So in case my ability to take my fiat and move my money around into that system is cut off, I'm already have something that is producing value for me. So I think, the micro nodes is going to blow this business up. It's going to blow up everybody that takes a part of it. Don't think short term. Don't count dollar amount right now. Understand that you have something of value that has the mechanisms and the potential to continue to rise, especially as a lot of things that are going on in the economy, continue to have a downturn. We're in position where the money's going to go and these assets are going to rise in value.
So you guys are so good at just words. I'm just going to teach. Okay, that's what I do teach. I can't compete with you guys on maybe what you say, but I'm gonna try to break this down here. Let me find it. Okay, so some people might be like, okay, this sounds great. Travis and Mims are making a lot of sense, but what are you talking about?
Can you zoom in? No,
I
it's all
can't.
good. No, it's all right.
No.
Yeah. No, it's good. Go ahead.
No, you can't. So you can buy a micro node for as little as $50. Okay. It's going to give you 1% of what a perpetual node would. Okay. So a perpetual node, sometimes they start out at 1,000. They've sold for as much as 70,000 straight from the debt box. Okay. So let's just say a perpetual node or a full node was producing 100 tokens a day. Again, we're not going to talk about dollar amount because it's irrelevant. If you're still measuring your wealth in dollars, you have not heard anything we have said. You are not following us on any level. Measuring your wealth in dollars will lead to struggle that you don't want to deal with. So stop measuring your wealth in dollars, measure in the quantity of assets you have. So let's say a perpetual node is making 100 tokens a day in whatever it is. If you get a micro node, okay, you're going to get 1% of that. So you get 1 token a day. But again, you're not spending $1,000 or $6,000 or $50,000 on this. You're spending $50 one time to get that 1% every day that perpetual node is giving. Now, so you're going to get daily token rewards. There's no hosting fees. Okay, you don't have to know anything about blockchain, servers, VPNs, VPS. You don't have to pay anything extra. It's a one-time thing. You can get up to 10 per month. Okay, this is what confused me too. I was talking to Aaron today, and Joe answered this question. It's not. I thought it was like you can only get 10 micronodes per project. No, it's 10 micronodes per project per month, I believe. So why is this huge? Okay, it's dollar cost averaging. That's what I teach people about everything, whether it's gold or silver or Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. You want to set it and forget it. Don't worry about the price. Automate being wealthy. That is now what IX Global allows us to do with the debt box and nodes backed by real world commodities, is automate the process of being wealthy. DCA, it's called, or dollar cost averaging into a node. Now, the big difference here, Travis, is I DCA into Bitcoin every day. I buy $15 of Bitcoin every single day, rain or shine. I don't care if it's $69,000 or $3,000. I buy $15 of Bitcoin a day.
I do too, every day.
But I just buy the Bitcoin and I need $15 to go in. I can do a one-time micronode. Technically, you need to buy 3 at a time. So 150. 150 one time gives me 3% up for perpetual. And every single day, I'm getting those tokens. I'm getting those tokens from just a one-time decision. And Ricardo and I said this on our first live stream, is I think there's going to be people who do this for 2 or 3 months. And, you know, the price doesn't go up or double or triple. And they're just going to lose interest. This is what this node stuff, stupid. Crypto sucks. Oh, the price went down. And probably in 2 or 3 years, if they don't, you know, lose their seed words or do something, you know, crazy with their crypto stuff, they're just going to come and look and be like, whoa, what? How do I have $5,000 in here now? How did this turn into $10,000? Those are going to be fun stories to tell, but they're going to think in their head of like, what if I would have just put this on autopilot and been buying 3 micronodes every single month with my credit card? So the barrier to entry is removed. People can easily get into crypto using their credit or debit card. Like Ricardo talked about, you want value outside the system. Because if things do go down or turn sideways, you're not going to be able to get your money into the system. Because I don't want to bring it back into the system. I want to get out of the system. So I don't know if that made any sense, Travis. Does that make sense? Am I still a good teacher or not?
Dude, I wish I could. No, that
fine.
was golden, and I
Yeah.
wish I don't have the same sound
That's
effects.
not
You get a ding. You get a. I mean, that was
something like that.
applause.
There you go. We got something.
Listen, it's easy to forget sometimes that a share or a token, I should say, a token is part ownership in a gold mine. A token is part ownership in, a beverage, manufacturing company that is revolutionizing the beverage industry. Every time that you have just even a little bit, right? And so sometimes we underestimate the value of just that little drip every day. You go tell me what'll happen.
Drip.
You can put a little drip underneath your faucet right now, or a bucket underneath your sink, and have a little drip that's dripping into it just every now and then, and come back in a month and a half and tell me if that made a big impact. Tell me if that little drip was significant or not. What these micro nodes are is
yes, sir.
Amen. It's a little drip, right? I mean, your whole kitchen's going to be flooded. You ever seen a rock that has a drip that just a steady drip that just continues to hit that rock over and over again? Yep. What it'll eventually do to that rock, right? It's the same concept with these micro nodes. There's no question that every single person that's watching here, I always teach people the same thing that you do, Mike. I have my setup every day. I don't even think about it. I buy Bitcoin every day. It just happens. And I love getting that little email that just tells me that I just bought a little bit more. And I don't even think about it. It's automated. And in that exact same way, every single person here should go buy, 3 micronodes a month. Now, people are going to say, well, I don't know. That's a lot of money. I can't afford it. But then they'll go out and spend $200 on a dinner or on a drinking bill or whatever else the case might be.
Stupid.
Buying things that they don't need with money that they don't necessarily have. Look, if you want to get wealthy, you pay yourself first, right? Take the 10%. You take 10% and you put it into income producing assets that are going to do what? They're appreciating assets that have the ability to be able to continue to grow in value, and or they're going to continue to produce income producing assets. That's how you build true wealth. And so for me, fractional ownership's not new. It's been around in one form or another for quite some time. But here's the thing. It opens up the world of ownership to almost every single audience for almost any reason. And for those of you that are building a business here, you need to know what you have in your hands, and you need to know how to go out and share that information with somebody else, because every single person that you know should be on the subscription to these micronodes. And every single one of you should be on a subscription to micronodes. At the very least, shift it so that it's qualifying you to be able to qualify for the fullness of the compensation plan. For those of you that are building the business, dude, talk about value. Now you're building your wealth creation portfolio. And at the same time, you still have a business that you can go and build by doing the same thing. So for me, it's an absolute no-brainer.
Absolutely perfect.
I mean, I don't know what we can add to that. We're kind of coming to the end of the hour here. Mims, why don't you go ahead and wrap this up, and then we'll give Travis the last word. Whether it's, understanding the value of what we have here, how important it is to take action now. Again, this is the greatest wealth transfer, guys. And let me say this before Mims makes it make sense. If you're watching this right now, okay, give me the hashtag Node Life, like this wherever you're watching it, share it out, tag a few people. All right. If somebody watches this and they don't take action, at least you can say you tried. Okay. You can't help everyone. You could bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. All right. But we need your guys' engagement. The powers that be don't want people becoming free. They don't want them making passive income. They want them a slave to the system. So Mims, make it make sense, and I'll wrap this up, man. This has been a blast.
Yeah. So I'm literally like right here creating a post. Okay. If you could buy something for $50 and it pays you for life in an income producer asset, would you do it?
Yes, sir.
When we talk about no-brainer, that's a no-brainer. At this point, like you said, you'll go out to dinner or a movie and spend $50. You'll go to the casino, spend $50. $50 is nothing. But now, and I ain't gonna say it's nothing. You understand what I'm saying? But now $50, and you're saying, well, the $50 I'm gonna spend, and I'm gonna get paid for something for life. But not only am I going to get paid for something for life for that $50, this thing that is paying me out is an income producing asset that's backed by a growing and in demand industry inside of a technology that is revolutionizing the world and where value is shifting to.
Mm.
Mm.
This what I said. Shout out to the micro millionaires. Okay, the micro millionaires all around the world, and I'm not talking about no get rich quick instant gratification. When you guys really understand the tokenomics, that's why Jason says, look, you guys really don't understand what you got your hands on. When you understand the happenings and where the supply of these tokens are after the third and fourth, fifth year, and so on. When you understand that they're continuing to add value to these projects, whether these assets and companies and commodities are increasing in value, and that royalty check is increasing every single month, buying more tokens, taking them out of supply. When you understand that strategic tax that's taking place, taking the tokens and reducing the supply, and then you're talking about getting paid for $50, 1% from something that has all of these variables, all of these dynamics, all of these, exciting components that give what this $50 can turn, for you into hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in income in the coming years. That's very exciting. That's a no-brainer to me. That's something that you want to leverage and diversify into. So in addition, like you say, getting an ounce of silver, getting a gram of gold, get you a micro node. Okay. I mean, that should be part of the wealth building strategy. And that's something that everybody can take advantage of. So that's what I love about what we're doing, where we're going, and the lives that we're changing, because there's just so much value here. There's so much upside potential here. Once again, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. So it's just exciting and phenomenal to be in this position so early on, and literally foreseeing, what's to come and telling people, and we're living it.
Absolutely perfect.
Well, Travis, luckily you have 20 years of experience to try to follow Mims as we close this out. But again, give people some inspiration on how important it is to take action right now in the greatest wealth transfer in human history.
It's hard to follow Mims, I got to tell you. Matt, Mims, and both of you. Number one, I'm going to say this. It's not enough to recognize the opportunity of a lifetime. You have to act during the lifetime of the opportunity.
Right.
And right now, I agree. The greatest wealth transfer in history is currently happening right before our eyes. The evidence is out there. These are not cliches or sayings. I mean, every day we are witnessing, major, first of all, we've seen more banks fail this year than ever before in the history of our country.
That's right.
That's a sign.
Yeah.
We are watching one of the biggest allies that our country has had over the last 75 years that are now moving away from the US dollar. We're watching major superpowers that are emerging that are forming their own currencies. Guys, these things are happening right before our eyes, right? So, the one thing that has propped up our dollar has been the petrodollar, and the petrodollar is supported by the energy that we produce. And when you have everybody abandoning our dollar, I agree with Mike. I don't think that the dollar is going to go away, but I think that we could see a reset. I think that we could see where, again, you're paying, 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 for things that used to cost you $5. We're already seeing that. So the confidence in the dollar is shifting. And where are people going to go? I mean, let me ask you a few questions. Number one, do you believe that cryptocurrency is going to be more prevalent or less prevalent over the next 5 years? Answer that question for yourself. Is it going to be more prevalent or less prevalent? There's no question, right? Blockchain technology is changing every facet of business. So we know that it's going to be more prevalent. So here's the second question. If it's going to be more prevalent, then do you think that people are going to be more inclined to buy cryptocurrency coins and tokens that have nothing backing them, right? They've got little cute pictures of puppy dogs that are on them that were launched that essentially, were hyped up and pumped up through celebrities and Reddit groups? Or do you think that they're going to be more inclined to buy tokens and coins that are actually backed by something real? Simple question, right? Do you think that they're going to want hype, or are they going to want substance? Are they going to want speculation? Or are they going to want tangibility? I believe that they're going to want substance and tangibility. That's number 2.
Yep.
Number 3 is this question. If not this, then what? Right? If not this, then what? Where are you going to put your money? You're going to go to a bank account? You know, you're going to get wealthy on the pennies that they're paying you on the dollars while they're taking your money and going and investing it? Are you going to put it in the stock market that right now is turning 401ks into 301ks?
Nope. Wow.
So if not this, then what? And at the very least, you know, wise investors, wealthy people understand the importance of diversification in down markets. Every single one of you has an opportunity, whether you are somebody who has money in the bank, you've got a 401k, or you're living paycheck to paycheck, but you have the ability to be able to at least start positioning yourself into an ownership side, you know, where you have a piece of something that's going to continue to pay you an income producing asset, and you can collect those and collect those and collect those and change your life and change your stars. And so for me, at the end of the day, you ask yourself those questions, you come to your own conclusion, whether or not this is worth being a part of. For me, I believe that we are all pioneers that are involved in a project that has the ability to move that 4% to 10%, to raise the bar in the industry. It is the pioneers that they always write about in the history books. And I promise you, we're going to be one of them.
That's it.
Wow. That's it, guys. Phenomenal show. Again, everyone's loving it. Shout out to Trish Mitchell. We saw down on Bev Day. Amazing call. Ricardo, do you want to add one last thing?
No, I mean, great show, folks. Y'all know what time it is, man. I mean, this is the time. We're really excited. I can't wait to see you, you know, Travis and DR and everybody who's coming. We're gonna have a phenomenal time, man, and well deserved. And we're gonna keep winning, folks. And like I said, people are watching, you know, and they watching, and eventually they're gonna say, "Hey, I'm ready," you know. And like Travis said, if not this, then what? And that's what I be trying to say. Where you gonna put your money at? You know, gold, silver, crypto, like that's it. Like traditional finance is done. So no, great call, man. Awesome show. Thank you, Travis, for coming on. It's always magic when you get on. We always have a great time, and man, we do it for the people, man. We do it for the people, and we love it.
Let's do another show in the Dominican Republic.
Yes,
maybe
sir.
with our hats on, or maybe a cigar in hand, and we'll just have a little crypto talk. How's that sound?
Hey, I'm with it.
I'm with it.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it. Love to all. You guys take care.
All right. Thanks, Travis. Have a great night.
Y'all know what time it is. Lace up. Let's get wealthy.
What's up? Bye-bye.
Peace.
On my cash stack, high yields on stable coins, yeah, that's where my bag at. All I really need is Wi-Fi, get money on DeFi, mega cash on MetaMask. You better run when the runners run, show you how to get your money up. Dollar inflated like bubble gum, markets are jumping like double dutch. Buying up gold till I get a ton, crypto, yeah, I got some. You better run when the runners run, you better run when the runners